And then where would you put all that extra time into?
Now you all this new time, you like, okay, what's the bottleneck? So you're like, if you're like, okay, the bottleneck is sales, then that's gonna be training salespeople. Or if it's marketing, what else do you like doing outside of work?
Work is life. Content creation. I'm
talking about outside of work. Content creation. do you like what else do you like doing?
Working out, hanging out with friends. I mean, really, like I like doing my work.
So the biggest thing I see with entrepreneurs when I talk to them, like, hey, what's your free days? Like, because we want to track how many days you had off, like free days. And typically entrepreneurs are like, what do you mean free days?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, well, these are days where you don't work. And I'm like, well, what am I doing if I'm not working? And I'm like, but a lot of times we get addicted to working.
Yeah, exactly.
So now what we're doing is like, do something. Go travel. Go on a vacation. Go hang out. Start dating. I don't know. Like, what else do you want to do?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep. All right, Joe. So what is it that you do, my brother?
So I help people build their personal brands, get more leads through social media, dial in their messaging. So just everything like with brand building and getting clients and leads.
Nice. And how did you get here where you doing this amazing work?
It's a long story. I'll kind of morph it into a couple minutes. But basically, I grew up on a small farm, Virginia. I was probably like 14, 15 when I came across Facebook and Instagram. And I started using Facebook and Instagram to basically sell my farm products. So I was raising like chickens and selling eggs. And I basically just built like a small brand on Facebook and Instagram. It's just posted my daily life, my chores. And then fast forward a couple years, I got into high school, so I was doing like high ticket sales.
So you started building your personal brand when you was 14 and 15?
Yeah, I mean, like 8+ years now. I'm only 22, but.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I've been building it for a really long time. I've kind of been in that space for quite a while, and that morphed into me building my own brand, which is now the Real Joe McCarthy brand.
Okay.
And then people just started asking me like, hey, how do you build your following? How do you get leads? How do you fine tune your targeting and your messaging and your content? So recently, about 3-4 months ago, that's when I officially launched my program. Like I've been selling for other companies and stuff like that, high ticket for a long time.
Like affiliate type stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But I wanted to kind of get into doing my own thing, which I've officially started pushing it for 3-4 months, but it's kind of been in the works for 6-7 months now.
Okay, nice. That's really cool. So you said you initially started your brand and you were selling chickens and eggs.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was telling somebody the other day, it's crazy how the internet has really set people up. You can build a business around anything. So the other day, I was talking to my dental hygienist, and she was telling me how the picks don't really do what they don't do what they're supposed to do compared to the regular floss.
Yeah.
So I started back using the regular floss, and it's harder to get in the back though, right? Yeah. So I Googled. I was like, how do you floss your teeth? I found this lady, she got 500,000 subscribers, and all she does is talk about flossing your teeth.
It's insane.
I was like,
people are selling rocks. It's just
I was like, this is crazy. All right, perfect. So where's the business now, and where are you looking to get it to?
So currently, since it's a little bit newer, it's about 16 to 25K revenue.
Good.
And most of that's profit, so we can get into that obviously down the line. But ideally, in the next 3 to 4 months, I want to be at 50K profit, and then down the line, let's say November, December, probably around that 100K mark per month.
Profit or top line?
Revenue.
Revenue. Okay, good. Perfect. And then what would you say is the biggest scale constraint? Like if you walk away with this will help you get to that.
I would say probably figuring out how to lower or mitigate the amount of time and effort and one-on-one connection I have with my clients. Not having to work as much in the business as I want to work on the business, because I feel like right now I have about 16 active clients, and I'm taking a lot of one-on-one calls, and it's not as scalable. So I want to figure out how do I kind of stay out of the business a little bit, but still give enough value.
On the coaching side?
Yeah, on the coaching side.
Oh, you're going to love me today, Joe. I love it. I love it. All right, cool. Let's dive in. So walk me through your model now. So it's the big promise when they join your coaching program is you're helping them build their personal brand.
Yeah, exactly. So there's basically 3 core things we're focusing on. It's building out their offer. So a lot of these people that come in, a lot of them are in the fitness industry, so they do
is that intentional?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
And I've also just seen those people kind of migrate to me, so I feel like a lot of times your niche will find you. So
Are you a fitness guy?
A little bit, yeah. Not as much as Brandon or these other guys out here, but I definitely understand the niche.
Okay.
So like I kind of know how to talk to them. But
Okay.
basically a lot of their scenario is like they do in-person training, it's not as scalable, they get paid like $80 an hour or whatever it is. And they want to create like an online program, right? They want to build their following, build their engagement, find some kind of online offer to provide, slightly more high ticket, not crazy. Let's say it's $1,500.
Yep.
So yeah, my promise is basically like when you come in, we're gonna structure out an offer. We're going to optimize your brand, like really make sure it's high quality, it looks professional, you're speaking to your audience in the correct way. And then we obviously dial in like the targeting, the lead gen, just so you can actually like book calls and close deals.
Got it. Perfect. And none of this is done. None of this is done for you, right? It's all done with you.
Exactly, all done with you.
All right, perfect. So boom, 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 boom. All right, cool. So they find you, they go through your funnel, they get on the call with you. They're like, all right, how much is the offer?
So it's a 4K offer for 90 days.
Perfect. So it's 4K
one time
for 90 days. Anything back in, like after the 90 days?
So that's another thing we could talk about because since it's relatively new, a lot of the clients are starting to kind of get to that 90-day period, but I haven't actually built out anything. So just kind of like top of mind, I'm thinking something for like maybe a couple $100 per month.
Okay.
I want to create a group group like call every week as well, which I haven't done yet.
Okay.
But ideally, yeah, I want to have some kind of like recurring revenue. Let's say it's $200 a month. If they want to maintain access, they get like a group call a week, hop on, ask questions. So that's something I haven't quite built out yet, but that's kind of the idea.
Cool. So 4K 90 days. So they pay you, and then what? So let's say I'm a fitness guy. I came to you. I talked to you. I'm like, okay, Joe, I'm in. I pay you the 4K. What happens then?
So we'll set up an onboarding call, which is usually like the next day or like, whenever they're free. And that's about 15 minutes. So that doesn't include.
And that's you doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm doing most of this stuff as well. And I think delegation's another weak point in my business. But yeah, so we hop on that quick onboarding call. It's like 10, 15 minutes just to figure out what their goals are, what they need help with, what to expect. And then for this program, just to give you some context. So right now for the 90 days, you get modules. Like I have Kajabi, there's 6 hours worth of content in there. So they'll dive into that. And then we hop on about 10 one-on-one calls.
You're probably like, whoa, Marquel, slow down. If you're enjoying the show so far, you may be wondering, how do you actually become a guest? Now, this isn't a platform where anybody can just get on. You gotta be in a specific area of your business where we can really do a solid deep dive. If you wanna be a guest on an upcoming episode, all you gotta do is go to strategicscaleguest.com. strategicscaleguest.com. There is an application process, so go over there, answer a couple simple questions, watch the quick video that I have there, answer a couple questions, and if you meet the criteria, our team will reach out to you and we'll get it scheduled and we can figure out if you're going to come to our office where we do a deep dive or we come to your office. So go ahead, strategicscaleguest.com. Let's get back into the show. So we got onboarding call,
Yep.
Boom, and then from there, they log into, do they get into modules before the onboarding call, or is it onboarding call?
No. So once they sign up, we'll set up our onboarding call, and then after that onboarding call is when the program officially starts.
Yeah.
They'll get access to the Kajabi, and I have it structured where like each week has a specific topic and like a specific amount of
And
videos.
it's drip to 'em?
Yeah, exactly. So I just drip it to them. They'll hop on like the Kajabi, watch 3-4 videos, and then towards the end of the week is usually when we'll hop on quick 45-minute call, and those are the coaching calls basically.
And that's one a week.
Yep, exactly. It's one a week up until the 10-week mark, and then usually I have basically like 24/7 text access. So if they need help or have questions, they can reach out.
So 10th week, then they get text access.
Yep.
And that's for 2 more weeks.
Yep, correct.
Text access for 2 weeks. And that's pretty much the deliverables.
Yep.
Got it. And you got how many people in this right now?
So active, it's about 15.
15. Cool. Perfect. All right, cool. So, man, so this is going to be great.
Yeah.
So and you're totally open to rehauling this.
100%, yeah.
Perfect. Here's what I would do. Here's how I would build this. So typically when we're working with or scaling the coaching business, we look at like these 3 pillars, right? So these 3 pillars are curriculum, which you already have,
Yep.
coaching, and then community. So these 15 people, are they inside of a community together, or are they all like disjointed?
Not yet. So it's all just like kind of one-on-one, and that's why I want to create some kind of
Perfect.
community. It could be on like Slack or whatever.
Excellent. So what I would do is right now you are doing the onboarding call.
Yep.
Do you have anybody on the team who could potentially do this, or?
I mean, I could. I think I don't have, like, for instance, I need to hire out a closer who understands kind of like the whole program and like the deliverables and stuff.
Yep.
So right now, no, but that doesn't take up a ton of time quite yet. Definitely as we kind of scale up.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing where are you getting your, are you running like ads and stuff, or is it all organic?
I just started ads, so like I've probably only ran like, I put in $3,500 over the course of like 4 months. Lead quality's not been great. I've been actually doing a lot of DM outreach. So
Okay.
So I have a setter who will basically reach out to about 15 to 20 people a day just through my main page. And then I also just personally will reach out to about 20 people. And for me, those 20 people are a mix of more inbounds of people who are following me, engaging with my content, since I have, a slightly larger following. So I usually do about 20. He does 20 just like cold, just reaching out to the target audience.
Yeah.
And then out of those 40 total DMs per day, I would say about like 20%, 20 of those 40 will respond. So it's about 50% response rate, and then out of that, about 10% will actually book a call.
Got it.
So, we're booking around 40 to 50 calls per month total, and it's primarily all just organic outbound. So
just outbound.
Yeah, ads we haven't really done a ton yet.
How do those convert? So if you get like 40 calls, what's the close percentage on those normally?
So I'm taking all the calls currently. My close rate's only about 20%. I actually just hired a sales guy to help me boost that up, hopefully to 30+%.
Okay.
But right now it's about 20%.
Okay, that's not bad, especially if it's so you can, especially if you ain't spending no money for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good.
So lead cost.
So here's what I would do with this, right? Real straight to the point is so you got the curriculum already. That's normally the hardest part for coaches.
Yeah.
So one thing I would do is you got the curriculum. Now when they come into the program, I would have you can do it once or twice, but typically generally speaking, we'll have one coaching call per week, right? And that's a group call. And they basically come on that call and then they bring you their questions based on where they are in the curriculum. So you're going to have some people who come on that call and they're going to have questions based on they just got started. So they're in module 1, week 1. Then you're going to have some people who are in week 6, week 7. They're talking about a totally different thing. But you're basically on there asking questions. And the beautiful thing is about that is it's super beneficial for them. Because I used to do, when I first started coaching business, I did it just like you. So I was doing one-on-one. It was the one-on-one calls. It was like you got access to me. But it was like everybody typically, and you probably found the same thing, everybody has the same question. On those 45-minute calls, ain't nobody bringing no questions that's like, oh man, I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same question all the time, over and over and over again. So now you can literally have that one coaching call a week, where let's call it Wednesday or whatever time works good for you. And now you have everybody on there and they come on and they ask you questions based on where they are in the process. And then you have some type of community element where whatever platform you want to use, where everybody's in there and now people can kind of support each other. And then as people join, they kind of come into the community. And then you have like a support email. So whether that's a direct email address or you can use like a Zendesk or like some kind of delivery thing where they can you got like a VA or client support person?
Not for the specific clients yet. I'm doing all that myself.
Perfect. So now we can look at like because like your VA, because like again, when I started, I was like, I had my VA, she became client support.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever questions they used to send me, when I started, it was literally my email was marquellsclients@gmail.com. So nothing fancy, right? So, and then my members area was, you familiar with WordPress? So I had a WordPress blog site.
Yeah.
And I would take all the videos and I would put them on that WordPress blog. And you can password protect the WordPress blog.
Yeah.
So everybody had the same password. So when they came on board, I would just give them that link, the same password everybody else got. If you got questions, send it to marquellsclients@gmail.com. And then of course you'll see me on the coaching calls. So you got those specific things, and we was able to, and then we got it to a point where we got a members area built out, and all that type of stuff, right? And then as I was training my VA to client support, I was like, hey, when you get these questions, if you don't have an answer, ask me. Then after and then now we was able to SOP all my answers. Because I was explaining to her, you're never going to get a unique question.
Yeah.
Like when they ask you this, here's the answer for that. When they ask you this, here's the answer for this. And then she get to a point where she'd be like, how would you answer this one? And then I was like, well, how would you answer it? And she was like, well, I would say this. And I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
So then she was like, and then she was able to take that over completely. So now you remove yourself out of the support in that particular dynamic. Because right now, if you're taking, how many calls a day you take?
Well,
like coaching calls?
Coaching calls, it's about like 2 to 3 per day. Like ideally, I want to be under 20 hours of coaching calls per week because I feel like at that point, it's like you kind of get burnt out.
So 2 hours. So 2 hours would be ideal because like you could if you shift to this model, you can literally go from 20 hours a week of coaching to 2 hours a week of coaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with that one call.
Exactly.
And you take the recordings and then put those in the members area. So now when people can't show up, they can still watch the recordings.
Watch it, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And they get value from the other people in the community as well. So now they'll hear on the group, they'll hear people ask you questions that they didn't even think about asking. Mm-hmm. And now they'll get questions answered like, I ain't never think about that. That's super. Especially since you got it so niche, they'll better pull from that. Absolutely. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
What questions you got around that?
So like when the assistant responds to messages or to like questions, is that done on the group call or she just like emails back?
Emails. Okay. Yeah. So you're on the group call. So they get you on the group call. So you're answering the questions or whatever, and she could be on there like just listening, so she can get used to the conversations and used to hearing what you're saying. So now she essentially becomes an extension of you. Mm-hmm. But now between calls, instead of them having text access to you or instead of them sending you DMs or whatever, they send everything through this one support channel. And then she feels everything because her job is to protect your time. Mm-hmm. So now she feels all questions that come through. And then the ones that need to get to you, she'll bring it to you. But other than that, she can handle at least 50 to 60 to 70, 80% of the calls initially. And at some point, it'll be all of them. And if something needs to escalate to you, then she will. But other than that, you're focusing on creating more demand, more marketing, and then making sure your salesperson who you're bringing on is up to speed. And now your work, now you get off of sales calls, you get off of support. And then you're just doing coaching. And then what'll happen is your coaching calls will get long. So they'll probably get to 2 or 3 hours, which ain't the worst thing in the world. But then you'll start saying, okay, now we need a marketing call. Now we need a sales call. And then you'll start having clients that pop out who end up becoming coaches, like within your team.
That's interesting. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What questions you got around this?
How much training did you give to the assistant? Like, if I just, like, well, I guess 2 questions. Where did you find her to do that? And then, I guess, how much training went into actually, like, making sure they're all up to speed on that?
So, great question. So, I found her, so she came on as a VA.
Okay.
And I got her from a friend of mine. She's my operations director now, but she came on as a VA. So, and she told me, she was like, because she was a VA before with other companies, but she was like, nobody had really invested the time into like actual training her. So when she came on board, the first thing I did was made her a lot of, it wasn't Loomed in. I think it was probably like just like screen share videos or whatever I used, right? So I just showed her like, hey, here's how you check the email. Here's how you reply to email. So I'm just showing her like everything that I'm doing every day. I'm just recording videos of me doing it and then handing it over to her. So those became our SOPs. And then she was just watching those. And then as something else would come up, if she asked me a question, I'd be like, okay, let me shoot a video on that. And I'll shoot a video to show her how to do it. And like, okay, let me know if you got any questions about that. So it's heavy loaded on the front end. It's front loaded, right? And then now she got the processes and so forth. And then as new stuff comes up, then you just, all right, great question, let me create a video for that. Oh, great question, let me create a video for that. So I was almost never just answering the question. I was almost like, all right, let me shoot a video for that. So now you got this standard answer all the time.
Interesting.
Because clients aren't going to send them anything like new. They're not going to send anything like
trends with like the same questions.
So it's like when we work with clients, I'm like, hey, you're not going to encounter any challenge that we haven't either directly experienced or indirectly experienced through like a client. It's like it's not going to happen.
That makes sense.
And it's going to be the same thing with you. It's like they're going to have this challenge. You're going to have this challenge. So like even with our clients, it's like if they ask this question, we'd be like, oh, you haven't done this yet. And they were like, well, no, I didn't do that. I was trying to speed through the process. Because you tried to speed through the process, you created this challenge.
Yeah.
So like and I'm sure it's pretty the same thing for you. It's like,
exactly.
I can tell that you didn't do this yet because you're asking this question. Because the answer to that question was here. But because you skipped it. Boom. Or you asking questions that are week 10 related.
Yeah, they're coming.
But you're in week 1.
Yeah.
So let's do this thing step by step by step.
That makes sense. I think one thing, or like one fear I have is like if I'm answering all these questions on a group call, answering these questions on email, then like when it comes to us hopping on like a one-on-one call, I'm gonna like run out of stuff to cover with them.
So great point. So like here's the thing: if you do it this way, the one-on-ones go away.
So you would just not do.
You won't even need to do one-on-ones.
I think, and another fear I have though is that if I don't do one-on-one calls, it kind of like lowers the value of the program.
It doesn't.
You don't think?
It doesn't. I mean, because here's the thing. So like any reason it's 4K? Any reason it's 4K and not more?
No. I think right now I just started at 4K, see what the buy-in is.
So because the value isn't in the one-on-one. The value, I think the biggest thing on the front end though is to make sure you're selling in your marketing, make sure you're selling the system and not you. Because it's also going to help, as you build out your coaching team, it's also going to help you begin to pull back because you're selling the value of the system. So like for me, when I first started, I was selling Marquell Russell. So everybody wanted me. But then we shifted to focusing on selling the system because the value is really in the system, not in you anyway, right? You're great, you figured out the system, but they really want the outcome that the system creates. So if you can show them how to get the outcome that the system creates, even if you're not involved, they're fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like a lot of people like Tesla because of Elon.
Yeah.
But they're not expecting to ever meet Elon because they buy a Tesla.
Yeah.
They just like the brand. So it's like they're gonna join your program because they like Joe. Even if they never meet Joe. If they meet Joe, it's a plus.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not any less valuable if they don't ever meet Joe. Or if they just meet Joe at the exotic retreat once a year, right?
Yeah.
Because of the positioning. But they're like, we're still getting the outcome that Joe said we get. We're happy with that.
Interesting.
But it's like, it doesn't make it more, the one-on-ones don't make it more valuable though.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Hey, what's up? Real quick, if you're watching this episode, which you clearly are, and you're like, okay, this is amazing. If you're a business owner right now watching this and you're making $30K to $100K per month at least, or you're making 1 million or 5 million and you're looking to get to 10, 15, 20 million and beyond, and you're like, how do I strategically scale my business without burning out and without sacrificing the thing that matters, all the things that matters, I actually put together a special bonus gift for podcast listeners only. So if you go to strategicscalegift.com, that's strategicscalegift.com. We're going to hook you up with some tools, some strategies, some systems that you can apply into your business immediately to help you strategically scale your business without burning out so you can impact more people and scale to the $1 million business, to the $1 million mark and beyond. Go get that right now, strategicscalegift.com, and let's get back to the show.
So then you would just do a group call a week, which is like 4 per month. And then like what other perks would I have for this? So
right now the deliverables are the curriculum.
Yep.
The calls that they get right now, you don't have them in the community right now. So if you create a community, you can do that. Do you do any in-person events or any kind of events or anything?
That's definitely something, down the line. I'll probably do like retreats. They can come out for 3 days or something like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, that's it. You don't really need to add anything else because you already got the sauce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, so like, what's coming up for you? It's the same thing. Because I had a coaching program one time, and it was $300 a month, and I thought I was doing it. Right? I was like, $300 a month, I'm killing it. It got me to $10,000 a month, and then I was like, I wonder what people pay me $500 a month. So I increased it to $500 a month, and then people started paying me $500 a month. And I was like, this is crazy. And then, but I was working with everybody one-on-one, and I was like, all right, guys, I'm on a lot of calls, and then sometimes people in my, I don't know if you experienced this, but I had people who would book their one-on-one, but they wouldn't even show up for the call. So I would sit on the call waiting for this one-on-one, and they wouldn't even show up. And I'm like, okay. And then they'll be like, hey, sorry this happened. Can I schedule another one? And I'm like, all right. So I end up creating a group where I was like, and then I, of course, I showed them that it's more valuable for them in a group, because them in a group with me is more valuable than them one-on-one with me, right? So I showed them that and why it's more valuable. And then when nobody wasn't like, well, no, I'm out, I want the one-on-one with you. Everybody was like, all right, cool, I see how this benefits me, because now if you got 15 business owners in here, you got the not equal knowledge of 15 people versus you're only limited to the questions you ask me. But like if you got 15 other people in here, you got the aspect of having the brain power of 14 or to 20 other people as well.
And at what point did you switch to, like how many people did you have active once you switched to group?
I probably had about 10 or something like that, between 5 to 10 or something like that.
So you think like 15 right now is solid?
Yeah, for sure. Like so we have clients when they're starting a coaching program, because we got people who are like kind of in the starting phase, and we got people who are like in the crazy scale phase. So once you got 2 or 3, you got a group.
I don't know why, but for some reason I felt like I needed like 30 people or something like
You already got a group. Because, like, even with your 15, you're probably going to get, all of them aren't even going to show up to the calls anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I was like, probably need a good amount. But yeah, I think 15 is solid.
Nope. Yep. Man, you put them, everybody come on, they jump on the group, they come on, bring their questions. And then it's kind of like a mastermind for 4K. So it's a steal. Go ahead.
And you would do it for like an hour long? Or how long would you
Typically, my rule of thumb is just like however long it takes.
Questions, yeah.
Yeah, however long it takes. It's normally going to be, depending on how many people, an hour to two. But 2 hours, you got a nice bit of people on there. And then you just kind of, sometimes you got to just teach people how to ask a question, because sometimes people don't know how to ask questions.
Yeah.
So typically when I'm doing, I'm like, hey, hit me with your question, like, my question is, boom. And then I'll get all the context after, because sometimes people are going a long story, but never even asked the question, and they've been talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And now my brain then checked out. So you show them how to ask the question, and then when they ask it, we get through it. But hour or two, and it's like, now you've done your coaching for the week. Other than, and it's like, hey guys, even if you can't make the group, you don't miss out. You can still contact me through your client concierge portal, which is an email, right? And now I'll still get you taken care of. And then let's say, for example, you carve out an hour a day just to check submissions that came in from clients. And let's say you was replying to submissions from clients, sending them a reply, and that was an hour. You still collapsed time.
And then where would you put all that extra time into?
Great question. So it depends on the goal. So it might be training the salesperson. It might be like whatever. So now you all this new time. You're like, okay, what's the bottleneck? So you're like, if you're like, okay, the bottleneck is sales, then that's going to be training salespeople. If that's the bottleneck, or if it's marketing, it's going to be creative marketing, right? Or it's going to be what else do you like doing outside of work?
I don't know. Work is life. Content creation. I'm
talking about outside of work. Content creation. Do you like? What else do you like doing?
Working out, hanging out with friends. I mean, really, like I like doing my work.
So maybe it's finding like some other stuff that you like doing.
Yeah.
Because now you still, your business is still. You said you want to get to 50K, 100K a month.
Yeah.
So now you got a business making you 50 to. And the biggest thing I see with entrepreneurs when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, what's your free days? Like, because we want to track how many days you had off, like free days. And typically entrepreneurs are like, what do you mean free days?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, well, these are days where you don't work. And I'm like, well, what am I doing if I'm not working? And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of times we get addicted to working.
Yeah, exactly.
So now what we're doing is like, do something. Go travel. Go on a vacation. Go hang out. Start dating. I don't know. Like, what else do you want to do?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because now the business is designed to run with very minimal effort from you.
Yeah, I mean, I think down the line, I definitely want it to be something where I don't have to work more than 4 or 5 hours per day, but I never even consider like, okay, what are those other 8 hours and what am I doing in that time?
Chilling, whatever it is you want to do. I mean, you're in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of stuff to do.
It's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
So whatever it is.
That's a good point.
And then you're young, so it's like, you're young, you get money, you're in Fort Lauderdale, it's like, dude, it's like, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
But we want to build it, because a lot of times we want to build it for the freedom that you want, though, because a lot of times we say, okay, we're going to build it, and then down the line I'm going to build the freedom in, but at that point you're addicted. So it's now you're going through the withdrawals of letting stuff go because you didn't build it with freedom in mind.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because I know I used to, like, I'm hustling, any free time is like, oh, let me work, or I need to do this, or now you start feeling guilty about not working. And then that's just a recipe for burnout.
Yeah, 100%.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Cool. What questions you got around this?
So for me to hit like 50K in the next 2 to 3 months, like, do you think 4K is a solid price? Like, I think I need 8 or 9 clients at that price to hit 50K.
What's your close? You say 20% at 4K?
So the program is 4K. I've kind of mapped out just between. So I actually have a setter who I pay him in total, because he also has like team members who help me book calls. So he pays them and I pay him about like $1,000 per month, and they're booking me like a good amount of calls. So I think I've gotten it down to $80 to $90 per call booked, and I have about an 80% show up rate. So I mean, I'm not paying a ton for the calls, especially because a lot of it's just organic outreach. So I think I've done the math, and I profit about like 80%. So like
Good.
20% of
That's good.
4K is just expenses with Kajabi and subscriptions. And
Do you want to increase it, or what's the most you could charge for it without flinching?
maybe 6K.
I would increase it to 6K then, like today. Or you can send out an email to your list and be like, hey guys, if you've been on the fence about working with me, like schedule a call and let's chat, because Monday I'm increasing the price. And just fill your calendar right quick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then what's today? Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, Monday, now it's 6K.
Yeah.
But I'm increasing the price, so if you've been thinking about it, like we're going into February with the new price.
Yeah, I like that. And then at what point would you hire out a closer? Because like right now I take maybe 40 to 50 calls per month. So I mean, so basically like 2 calls a day. It's not terrible. And obviously I can close better than anybody on my offer. But I know at some point between, I guess that's if I'm, doing group calls versus one-on-one, that's going to free up a ton of time. So
I would get to a point where you're at least, so you said you take about 40, 50 calls a month? And then you said you're at like 12 to 26, you said 16 to 20K a month?
Yep.
I would say a good, healthy place to be is probably where you're at, like, probably at least like 30K a month. And on the low end, right? And then even then I would bring somebody else on, so now y'all are splitting the cost until you see they're strong enough, because you want to be at a place where cash flow wise you're good, cash on hand you're good, because typically they're not going to come on and close as good as you. So you still want to make sure you're good for that initial ramp up time where they aren't quite there yet. And then it sounds like you got the lead flow coming in, so where you're getting 10 to 20 solid quality book calls per week. Sound like you're there already. And then where you to the point where you're selling, where you've sold 25 to 30 of them, because that's going to give you some solid KPIs. So now you're going to know, okay, here's my baseline KPIs that you need to stand up to. Here's some solid call recordings that you recording these calls, right? So now you got some call recordings so you can train. And then, but I think you're right there, like ready to like considering bring somebody else to at least take some of the calls with you. So you're taking some and then they're taking some, and then that kind of y'all doing it together, and then you slowly back out. But that's going to be your highest. But doing the calls right now is definitely your highest ROI activity easily. Yeah, that's so I do that like last, and then so focus on like the stuff with your VA, your client services stuff, and then getting the coaching dialed in, and then you keep the calls.
So like, what would be the next steps? I guess like next 3-4 steps.
Great question. So I would say number one is implementing this model, this like hybrid model with your coaching offer. I would probably do like a state of the union with the existing clients and let them know, hey guys, I want to make the program even more valuable for you. Here's how, because I want to get y'all results faster, and we got a lot of amazing people in the community and y'all are just all disjointed and y'all don't know each other. So we're going to restructure this. Just so we can make the program infinitely more valuable to get you results even faster. Here's how we're doing it. And then just kind of show them, here's why we're doing this. Because everything is marketing, right? Everything is marketing, everything is a story, right? So now it's like, all right, how do we take what we just talked about? Because essentially you're selling them on it, but you're just saying, here's the story around it, here's why we're doing it, here's why it benefits you. We're not saying, I'm doing it because I'm taking a ton of one-on-one calls each week. I need to get off all these one. No. It's totally to their benefit, which it genuinely is. So now we show them that and then start that transition, right? So that's going to be step number 2, and then step number 3 is, and then at the same time, making sure your VA is up to speed and she got like some initial like FAQs to really start handling all the inbound, because like her number one job is to protect your time.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're bogged down with client work, she ain't doing that.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure she's doing that, and now they connect with her, and then she connects with you, and then she puts these questions on your calendar, and then you schedule an hour a day or an hour every other day or whatever to handle client submissions. Based on how you want to design it.
Yeah. And so you think that training her to respond to these individual questions on email is better than just having. Because like I've been in a couple programs similar, basically exactly what you're talking about, where it's like a group, they hop on group calls each week, but usually what they'll do is they'll like submit questions in like the Slack channel, and then usually on the call, if the coach didn't get to those, then he'll just handle those questions, kind of like go through them. So like if she's handling all the questions or most of the questions on email, then like what amount of those questions or topics would I be covering on the group calls?
So great question. So on the group call, so you're not even coming to the group call with a topic. You literally, they're coming to they're bringing the questions. So they're providing the content because they're asking you questions. So, and then I think when they're submitting it, now they can actually get answers faster. So now, let's say your coaching call is on Thursday.
Yep.
If they submit some on Monday, they don't got to wait till Thursday to get an answer, because tomorrow when you're in the office, when you're checking client questions, you're going to get an answer. So you don't got to wait till Thursday. So if let's say they enroll Thursday or Friday, they don't got to wait till next Thursday to get their questions answered. They can, hey, just shoot me an email here, and I'll get you taken care of.
That makes sense.
And then your person gets it to you in whatever, if y'all using Monday or whatever software y'all using, and then now when you pull up, let's say on your calendar you got 1 p.m. scheduled for client questions. And now you go in there, you answer all the questions, you send her the replies, and then she sends the replies back.
Yeah, got you. That makes sense.
And then now that's kind of your workflow. And now you got, okay, I got an hour where I'm creating content, or I got an hour where I'm doing this, or I got an hour where I'm just going to walk on the beach, or whatever that looks like. Because now, again, it's going to free you up to really be able to see how big you want to grow this thing, and like where are the other opportunities and bottlenecks in the business to grow and scale it.
Makes sense.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? Are you good?
I'm good.
Perfect. My man.
Appreciate it.
For sure. So at the Strategic Scale Institute, it's designed specifically for business owners who are making $250,000 a year up to $1 million or more. We even have clients that are doing $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year who are looking to strategically scale their business without burnout, so they can actually work less hours and actually experience more profit and impact more people in a strategic, systemized way. If you want to know how we can actually work together, go to scalemadeeasy.com. Go to scalemadeeasy.com. Got a ton of free resources on that page, and you will see somewhere where you can actually click and schedule a strategic scale session so we can jump on the phone and talk about how we can potentially work together. So go to scalemadeeasy.com, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you soon. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, you want to do 2 things. Number 1, click below this video and go ahead and subscribe so you'll be the first person to know when we release new episodes. And number 2, you want to click right here so you can check out the next episode. I know you're going to love that one as well. So go ahead and subscribe right now and then click right here to check out this next episode. See you in the future.